Good evening, y'all. Oh, I'm looking at my hair. I'm going to twist it this weekend. I say that every time I come on camera, right? Okay, I just got up from an afternoon nap because I got up really early this morning. I had a long day. And I wanted to be ready to teach my playing card divination class, okay? But I just want to take a minute. And if you know a young person, man or woman, that is a conjurer, black or white, okay? If you have somebody that you're wanting to teach or somebody who's indicated that they want to have teaching, I want you to give them said video. This is the second girl I've had to delete, and this one was part of my circle. I let her into the witch circle, okay? And she had a chance for not just, a whole fucking room of black practitioners. And Naja can tell you and speak to that, what it is like to be in our midst. I'm not the only person teaching. And all of the people in our witch circle bring something to the table, which is the only thing that I'm trying to strengthen is their individual abilities to get them to even find out what they are and use the correct resources, both academic and hands-on, to grow their magic, okay? That's what we're doing in our circle because we're not a coven. A coven is a group of very experienced witches. Everybody has a function. They're like cogs in a wheel and they work together. That's the reason why so many covens fall apart. And I've seen this especially because black people, for a lot of reasons, are not the majority people who join covens. But I've seen this across the cultural divide, that young people will go in and jump in and join a coven when they don't know anything. Okay, I can't tell you how many people I have read to who are absolutely broken because their original spiritual family either didn't know shit or had them in there not knowing anything so they could tell them anything and they would believe it. And maybe they were gifted, and that's the worst one, and they wanted to take advantage of them, okay? So, this is why I insist. I just had a problem with this young lady named Stephanie on my Hoodoo Delish post, and I went and took a nap, and thank God, some sisters was there in the cut to tell her about herself, all right? Now, I'm going to let you know in this video what it takes for me to become your mentor, okay? And a lot of that mentorship I don't charge a dime for, but I'm frustrated. Now, I'm also finding that because a lot of information is free, you know how people are when they get free stuff, when they don't work for it? Then they get real haphazard in their study and application of whatever it is that they've been given. That's often a problem with people who have innate magical abilities and no fucking discipline. Okay? What I ain't going to do today, I'm not going to have you as a Facebook friend, have you in the Ohio Black Witch Circle, have you in my goddamn home, have you in my inbox, or have you on my wall. Number one, embarrassing me because you're stupid. Number two, when you are identified by moi and motherfuckers old enough to be your mama, that you are not only out of fucking line, but incorrect as fuck, shut up. I can't tell you how many times in my life that I've had to eat shit. Just sit down and shut up. Even if I was right. Because remember, I was a child who was a psychic. So I told everybody's fucking business because nobody taught me not to. My grandmother was not around by the time I started doing these things. My grandmother had sent me back to live with my mother. And I caught hell all the time because of my mouth. Usually it was a couple of things. I was telling somebody's business that I didn't know was inappropriate. You know, kids do that shit. Adults are fucking stupid. and I knew better, and I really wasn't having the fuckery. Those are usually the two things that would get me in trouble, which continue to get me in trouble today, and I give no fucks. Because I'm on the dark side of 50, and I ain't gonna let no 20-something sit up here and tell me that we are the reason they don't know shit. That's like blaming the miniskirt for the rape. When you tell me that we, protecting our culture and our work, is the reason why them other folks go and make up all kinds of shit. Maybe because somebody black lied to them at one time. Maybe. But the bottom line is y'all keep hollering, and I've seen young people do it, as you go and you flitter around in Facebook groups and try to ask older witches questions. You ain't cracked open shit. You know, I always tell people, if somebody doesn't have books in their house, don't fuck with them. Because there's two ways to learn. You gotta passively take things in and actively act on them. In fact, we did a thing at our job the other day about learning styles. They're bullshit. Often learning styles are a reason and excuse for someone not to do what the fuck they're supposed to do. Okay? So, you don't learn by osmosis. I've tried it. Trust me, when I was taking Spanish, you don't learn by osmosis. You may act upon hypnotism, but you don't learn. So, continue to be a spiritual zombie. Like, I actually had some person advertising their documentary that didn't know shit about zombies and the reasons why zombies exist, how they were created in Haiti and probably Africa before that. And they gave an example that it was to venerate our ancestors, which tells me that the person who made that documentary doesn't know anything about science or anesthesia, for that matter. They were making, and still make today, anesthesia. Some shit that can have you walking around, conscious, able to move, zombified, and knocked the fuck out. And guess what? All you little sherry people, ain't nobody gonna tell you that. You ain't even gonna find that shit in a book. That's another reason why we don't tell you a whole bunch of shit. Because once we initiate and get with these spirits, we actually find out how much of hoodoo came from our religions. And we also realize that we can't pass everything around. But we can tell you the basics of roots. Guess what? Scott Cunningham did. Culpepper did. They're all on my reading list except for Urine Wood. But even she did it. Because she paid attention to what the black folks wasn't paying attention to. Now, you can sit up here all day long and talk about how we were on the verge, fuck white people, we were on the verge of a culture of losing our magic. Just like the Gullah Geechee are on the verge of losing all their land. Just like our children, these fucking millennials, are on the verge of losing their goddamn minds. And it's going to take something to rein them in. But I only got one child, one biological child. And I ain't fucking with too many non-biological ones. But understand that there are, even if I'm tired of you, which I have become tired of several of you, and I'm not willing to fuck with you no more, I can give you a list of referrals when I delete you. Because there are plenty of black practitioners out here. And then, you know, this person got accused of leaving the fact that we were not, well, no, the fact that these white people don't know shit, and that they're over here making a mockery of our magic. Drop that at the feet of black women. Nope, I am not going for the okie dokie fucking doke. And then she said, well, why are you assuming it's only women? Let's look at the Conjure community. I'll wait. For every male worker, I know countless women workers. And, you know, there's a lot of assumptions about that. Some of them are a little gender biased, per se. But because of our socialization, being the mothers, the creators, and the cooks, oftentimes how magic was administered, both good and bad. We were responsible to keep the lights on. There's a lot of things we were responsible for, and a lot of our magic was going on in plain sight. You know, we have, I can say Dr. Buzzard, you know, come on now. When you start rolling off conjure workers like Marie Laveau and Caroline Dye, I could just go on forever. But Zora Neale Hurston, most modern, living, and dead. Because if you don't think that Alice Walker is a witch, you crazy. Okay? You don't think that Toni Morrison doesn't practice some form of African traditional religion? You're out of your mind. Gloria Naylor knew it to a T because she put it in Mama Day, and everybody who didn't know shit about conjure work slept on that shit. My grandfather said the white folks say you want to hide something from us, put it in a book. Somehow in the conjure community, now let's think about this. I want you all to take this into a regular, everyday classroom. Remember how if you were black and say you got bussed, maybe some of you identify this, but I'm going to tell you my story. I got bussed to the best white neighborhood school in Chicago with a group of other black kids. And what was so sad about that was the group of black kids that got bussed had the highest standardized testing scores, which means my neighborhood was sending the best of the best to get a better education. And when they got there, instead of doing that, some of them, they wanted to continue some of their own patterns, and they have been taught some really fucked up self-fulfilling prophecies. One, that if you talked in standard job English, and if you knew how to read and you knew how to write well, and you did well in all of your classes, that you were trying to be white. I'm going to let that sink in. Because I think that some of you have experienced that, and you know how fucked up that is. Especially when I was that age and I was seeing white folks left and fucking right for what they really were. Because in 1983, when I graduated 8th grade, Harold Washington became the first black mayor of Chicago. And the white sheets came out in the classroom. But yet and still, these fools, most of them who behaved in that manner, went to or are still in prison. So now we're sitting here telling our own fellow conjure workers that you gotta be a natural witch. You might want to get a fucking hula hoop. You gotta be a natural witch. You can't learn nothing in a book when ain't nobody told you that. What a book can do for you before you lay hands on any fucking magic is what you need and what you don't need. So you're not following the cult of personality, and you don't end up with a room like mine, but you ain't selling shit to nobody. And ain't nobody coming to you for work. I turn most people away that come to me for work. Why? Because they're on fuck shit. And magic is not going to solve their problem. And I know it when they start talking to me. And that is why a lot of people absolutely, positively hate to get a fucking reading from me. And why I am done talking to you motherfuckers for a minute. Okay? So, yes, you skipped 3 grades, goddamn girl. What did you do? Graduate in a diaper? I'm being funny. That's fucking amazing. And I applaud you for that. But to be demonized and vilified by your own people for being educated, that's a goddamn sin. That's a motherfucking crime. That is the one thing that I have no fucking patience for. I went downstairs and I asked Shadow, I said, hey, Shadow, have I ever turned away somebody that wanted to learn magic? She said, no. I said, who do I stop fucking with? You know what she told me? People that don't know how to act. So if you come on my wall, and I want you to be, you can have your own opinion, okay? That's cool. You can definitely give me the statistics and the sites and the books where I can research where I'm wrong about this. But I'm going to tell y'all this right here shit. These books were written, The Secrets of Voodoo was written in 1953. You ain't looked. Most of the black practitioners that I talked to and the white ones said, how did you get into this? Because I read everything I could about it. A little white lady named Nancy, I take around to go to the grocery store and stuff. Spirit told me on Nextdoor to offer this woman rides when she needed to go somewhere. Turns out she's a witch. She sat up here and broke down all kinds of things. And I'm like, she's like, I bet I surprised you with what I knew. And I said, no, because you didn't run. And the first thing you had for me was some bath salts. Okay? Kind of figured it out. And you can ask Shadow. After we dropped her off that night, I said, that woman is a witch. And sure enough, she done come over here and brought a howlite necklace that never is going to make it to the website because Shadow bought it already. Okay? So, this is how you become my Facebook friend. And this is how you stay my Facebook friend. And this is how you might possibly be able to get me to be your mentor. Maybe. You know, and I've literally had people who come to me and say, will you be my magical auntie? Will you take me under your wing? And that denotes a specific type of respect, where they don't call you by your first name no more. And they listen to what you have to say. Because you don't have to like it, but remember who the elder here is. And if it's something that the elder is standing on that you don't like, well, you're welcome to change that in your magic. You're also welcome to separate yourself from your mentor should that person not be serving you well. And if that person threatens you with magic, that's your first clue. If you are with someone who threatens you with magic because you want to leave, it is because that person knows that you are more powerful than they are. If they threaten you, so you know what you got to do. If you don't know what you got to do, then all the time that you spent working with said elder was a waste. And it probably would be for many of you. Before you come here to my house to take Root Work 201, and y'all let me know when it gets to be 8:45 because I actually have a class to teach. 7:45. Don't let me talk too long. Before you even come here, anybody that's a person of color, it used to be everybody could take my online classes. Any person of color could take my online classes. But when it is time for you to come into my space and for me to give you certain things, and no, I'm not giving you everything. I'm teaching you how to make your own magical products. I don't sit here and tell people that I'm going to make them a worker, a magician. I will give you as many business pointers as possible if you want to start one of these business. But I have seen people that don't want to listen, who have no professionalism, who have no education. You know, the education that some people say that we have too much of. Then you're not going to be a success. But I always tell people the honest to God truth about what they're getting from me. And then I ask them, is there something else you want? And then they can tell me, and I can say, oh, you know what? I'm going to put that in my program. Or I'm going to say, I'm sorry, that's something I can't teach you. Every family has their secrets, whether they're spell work or otherwise, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not obliged to teach people that I don't really know that well things that family and people like family entrusted me with to teach my child or to teach a person who really wants to learn so that it does not die. And, I'm sorry. It really is a instant gratification kind of thing. I had white mentors, and they always found books for me that pertain to my people and what I needed to know. They also told me, okay, that's some bullshit, that's not. They was real good with separating the bullshit from the chaff, okay? But even then, there were things that I had to learn elsewhere. So, you don't have to learn hoodoo, conjure, root work from a white person. If you do, and you get inaccurate information, the whole purpose of this video is to let you know that it's not my fucking fault or any other black worker, especially if they chose not to work with you because you're fucking simple. I'm not gonna do it. I taught business writing for several years. Do you know how many people I made drop my class because I knew they were on some fuck shit? I didn't say individually to them, you need to go drop because you can't cut it. You know what I did? I gave a list of outcomes, objectives in the course. And it was long. So when you get done this class, you will be able to. In fact, that's the measurement that they use when they're creating any curriculum. What's the outcomes? Do the outcomes match the outcome of the program they're in, like biology? And do the outcomes match the program, the institutional outcomes? That when a student comes from this school, they will be able to. So I'm working on outcomes and best practices, and yes, they adapt to witchcraft. Because you can't just let any old motherfucker have secrets. That is why some people are allowed to initiate and some are not. That is why some people get real initiations and why some people don't. And it is an exclusive club. So when I sense that you don't have no motherfucking sense, you know, and the only way I bite back is when you saying something absolutely fucking stupid on my wall. Because if you're on your own wall, I just delete you and keep going. But I can't even let a nap stop me from telling you where you got me and a whole bunch of other workers all fucked up. Because without paying for CEO optimization on my website, I'm still on page 3. But y'all stop on page 1. Because she paid for it. I mean, I barely had a fucking website. I'm not really that type of worker. I wondered what the fuck happened to Conjure when white folks got their hands on it and started opening up with online stores and the like, and groups and clubs and all this other shit. And I'm sitting here like, so this is what they're doing now. They're not just going down the street to somebody black auntie or grandma and this is the way we doing it now. And yeah, it is. But at that same time, when you went to go visit auntie or grandma, they didn't. Yep. Sometimes they put you in the living room, family room. Other times you sat at the dining room table. If you were lucky, you got to sit in the kitchen and all you did was see her pulling the shit down from the shelf like Priestess Miriam did in that video they made about Horror Story Coven, trying to prove they did their research when they really didn't do shit at all. But she was a force to be reckoned with. She could go and pull shit down, light shit up, throw bones, and tell you your whole motherfucking life. That's the goal. Okay? The goal is not to educate every Tom, Dick, and Harry, which is why you can't come to my house for 201 without a divination. But check it out. Everybody loves magic, even though the people that don't practice, even though them Christians, and they was on something. I was telling Shadow, when you read Harry Potter with new eyes, I can see why them Christians was losing their mind about witchcraft. I thought this was all jokes and giggles. It's exaggerated. That's what it is. But people don't get allegory and simile and oxymorons. They don't understand that shit. You know, you don't have to go and get 2 degrees in English like I do to look up words in a motherfucking dictionary. And I went right to the Reynoldsburg Public Library down the street, and let me show you what 2 books I found. Hold on, wait a minute. Oh, I found some other ones that were absolutely wonderful that I didn't own, that I picked up. But this book is in the little branch of the Reynoldsburg Public Library. This book is in the Reynoldsburg branch of the Columbus Public Library. These 2 books alone can tell you every motherfucking thing you ever wanted to know about magical correspondences of herbs. what you're going to do after that. This alone will let you know that maybe butter on a motherfucking candle is not a good idea because they ain't mention no dairy products. So, under motherfucking stand that I don't have to teach you, I don't have to like you, I don't have to do anything with you. Because you have to understand, people think I stay mad, but I don't. I don't even hold a grudge because it's dangerous. To walk around with anger and hostility towards another person when you're a person like me is dangerous and irresponsible. So when I get done here, I'm going to go play my fucking singing bowl and remain unbothered. But while I have to talk to you, because some motherfuckers don't understand unless they're being hollered at, you've been fucked up by colonialism and slavery, and you still don't know that you're free. Because you only listen to motherfuckers when they get mad and want to kick your ass. Ain't that fucked up? So, when you're on my wall, if I tell you that you're out of line and to shut the fuck up, do so. You could be mad, you can go in a corner, you can lick your fucking wounds. You can go tell your mama how I mistreated you. What? And you can learn something. And people say, I learned so much from your posts. Shut the fuck up and learn. I ain't telling you but a fraction of it. That would make no sense for me as a businesswoman, nor someone who realizes some of this stuff just needs to stay undercover. Because I also know there's some folks that can't hold water. And ain't no way in hell I'm going to advise them for anything. I have given people their money back in the middle of a reading. Okay, I love these glasses. I have 2 pairs. I'm a fool for a good cat eye, and they're about to get stranger and stranger. Trust that. I done found a few places to get some bomb-ass glasses. So, I think that's it. I'm going to go work on a moment of zen. A moment where I take a second to reflect on my day and think about mistakes I possibly could have made and how to do things just a little bit better. But I also use that time of day to congratulate myself because I, after a long life of putting up with everybody's bullshits, lies, and excuses, have really gotten to a stage in my life where I ain't got time for that.